Good morning. Good morning. I am Dr. Camelia Straughn, on your life transformational coach and mentor. And today we're discussing experiences with multiple meanings. Experiences with multiple meanings. So we're going to give some of our family and friends a few minutes to come in. I hope everyone is doing well. And we're almost a little further in time-wise. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, I am Dr. Camelia Straughn, on your life transformational coach and mentor. And today we're going to be looking at the idea that when we experience certain things, they have more than one meaning, right? And so looking at that, experiences with multiple meanings, that means if we take the time to stop and really pay attention to what we're experiencing, how we're experiencing, and what that experience is actually presenting to us, we will find that we could get more than one meaning, one lesson, more than one divine idea, right? So we look at the concept that the refined impression that you extract from your experiences after further observation, right? Their significance can add a new richness and texture to your life. That's just a long, fancy way of saying that if you pay attention to your experiences and stay present to those experiences, you will actually be able to see more than one lesson, more than one purpose of that experience, right? So we know that we are spirits participating in a human experience, right? So standing in that space as humans, we are self-aware, right? We nonetheless cannot distance ourselves from the world around us, right? We can't do that. I mean, as humans, we can't, right? Because we're part of it. Now, with that, right, we have a natural tendency to ascribe meaning to all of our experiences, to all of them, right? And the significance that we prescribe or perceive, in our experiences is rooted in our observation of patterns as they're related to ourselves. So, good morning, LaDonna. Glad to see that you're here with us. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions based on what we're talking about, please feel free to type them in, right? So if we're looking at the significance that we perceived in our experiences is also rooted in our observation of patterns as they relate to ourselves. What we're saying here is that how we perceive our experiences are based on also our morals, our values, and other things that we have already experienced, right? And sometimes we will jump to the conclusion as to what a particular experience is supposed to be bringing to us. And it's not to say that that is not the correct thing or that's not right. There, in this life experience, right, there's not necessarily with this idea of right or wrong, right? It's really about being able to see an experience, be aware, be in the now, so that you can actually get all of the information from that experience. What exactly are you supposed to get out of that experience? Right? So one situation, okay, has the power to teach us about life because it exposes us to something unfamiliar, right? Another touches on our emotions by enabling us to see how fortunate we are, right? And yet our initial impression of an experience may not wholly reveal the true significance of that occurrence, because our full response to an experience is like an onion, right? So it's peeling back layers. It's peeling back layers, those experiences, as we go through them, right? And so as we continue to look at an experience and we move through it and we actually begin to observe, right, what we've already experienced and really taking in all the parts of it, we're able to see that there are different things that we can get from it, right? So one experience can actually touch on, what our next steps should be, what information is available, and, what divine thoughts that we may be coming up with in order to propel us to the next step, right? And that's a good thing, right? So don't be afraid to look at our experiences and allow yourself to see all of the meanings that particular experience can have. So if we consider that a sunrise may stun us visually while simultaneously invoking memories of childhood and reminding us that each day is a rebirth, right? So just in that one experience, you got 3 different meanings. And so what it does, it allows us to understand and know that everything that we experience gives us more than one experience or one explanation about how we're moving through this journey, this thing that we call life, right? So for those of you who are just coming on, I am Dr. Camelia Straughn, your Own Your Life transformational coach and mentor. I am the owner founder of Rising Star Coaching. And we're also working in the movement of I Am Enough. And so we'll be posting in this space and our pages and different things like that, where you can get the t-shirt that says I Am Enough. And so it's really working in that space that no matter what is going on, every aspect of your life, you are enough, right? And being able to stand in that space. So now getting back to the idea that our experiences having more than one meaning, right? So if you take the time to examine your experiences closely, you will discover that your original impression, okay, may only be a part of a larger story of significance, right? And that is amazing because it can help you to not repeat certain things, right? Because if we look at our experiences from a totality, right, looking at all sides, then that means there are other lessons and information that we can glean from that experience. And when we do that, we are able to, right, not repeat certain things, because we do know that a lesson will continue to show up and repeat itself until you get it, right? So this concept of looking at our experiences and seeing them in a total, and really looking at and saying, okay, so now that I can sit back and observe what did I just experience, you can see all the different pieces. Okay, you can see where there's some intelligence that you need to pull from it, right? You can see that how it touched your emotional side of you, right? And what you need to pull from that. And then you can see possibly, oh, okay, don't need to do it like that again, because I really don't want to repeat the lesson, right, in this form again. And so you really begin to pull back that onion, right, and see what that experience really and totally has to offer you, right? So again, peeling away the layers of an event or an incident can be a fun and interesting process if you allow it, right? So it doesn't have to be something that's daunting or fearing or anything like that, because if we look at everything as a sense of growth and stretching and pushing you to your higher self, then you can have some fun with these ideas, right? So what we want to do is to begin to relive your experience in your mind's eye and from multiple perspectives, right? If possible. It'll take some work. And that is one of the things, one of our concepts, is knowing and understanding that growth is going to take work, right? So you got to be willing to do the work and put in the time to make these things happen. So you relive the experience, right, in your mind's eye. So you're really playing back the incident or the experience so that you can see all sides of it, right? Your interpretation of any situation is based not only on facts, right? You have the facts, but they're also based on feelings. How did you feel about it? What are your beliefs and your values, right? So all of those things are going to play a part in how you see, respond to, and understand particular experiences, right? So I want to suggest to you that when you experience something, to take the time to come back, right, and really look at that experience from your mind's eye. right? And spend a few moments contemplating how you felt when it began, how your feelings changed by it end, right? So when you were in a particular experience, how did you feel when it first got started, right? And as you progress through that experience, how did you feel? And then by the end of it, how did you feel at the end of that experience, right? Allow yourself to take these moments so that you can continue to grow, right? Because we know that in order to reach our higher self, right, and to stand in the space of our higher self, the work is never done. So each time you want to be able to level up to the next level, of that level to the next level. So it's continuous growth, right? We want you to always be able to stand in a space of always growing, always learning, because that's how you stay, right? That's how you continue to move and create the things that you believe that you were here or put here or came here to do, right? Those are decisions and questions and answers you come to create, right? And we do this by these little exercises of looking at our experiences and allowing ourselves to see them objectively, right? And say, okay, what is it I can learn from this, right? And ask yourself about what abstractions, if any, if it awakened anything in your mind, right? Like what came up for you. Allow all of that to be a part of the experience of figuring out and seeing how one experience can have several meanings, right? So if we take the idea that a certain experience, stirs up questions within your soul, right? It may be that it is striving to answer them or answer them at a new layer of meaning, right? May reveal itself to you. So that's really saying that, okay, this experience is looking for, requiring, and asking me to step to the next level. What does that mean and what does that look like? And how is going to come about, right? So when we say the significance of an experience may remain hidden, right, to you for some time. So, and we put that out there so that we know and understand, so that you're clear that it's okay if it doesn't all just woof right on top of you all at one time. Know that some things are going to take some time to reveal themselves, because your inner self knows what your conscious self is ready to handle, right? So your subconscious and your conscious self, they're working to balance themselves out, right? And usually your subconscious is really handling and moving through things at a higher level, and it's working on bringing your conscious self in alignment with that. And so when certain things take a little time, it's because your inner self knows that the conscious self is not quite ready for that information. Know that that's okay. Trust that that's okay. Because when you trust that, you trust you. And that is our biggest premise, is making sure that you begin and understand, or continue, right, to trust yourself, right? And so when we look at that, the meaning of an event can change when viewed from another context, or it may only become apparent after intense meditation, right? And intense meditation is really saying that you take some time and you sit and you really just listen, right? Just listen. Meditation is not really about asking for anything. It's really just listening. in choosing a mantra or a phrase that you could use, that when your mind creates all the extra chatter, you can kind of clear it out. Clear it out, right? And so as we move on, like, an incident can also seem superficial, right? And in that, it may unexpectedly touch you deeply later, right, in our lives. So right now, something that you experience may seem totally superficial, and then later on, you get this deep feeling of emotion about that. Allow yourself to experience it, right? Allow yourself to experience it, and then see the additional meaning to that experience, right? Because if you take a truly open-minded approach to your examination of each new level, and do not shy away from revelations, right, that could prove painful, you got to allow yourself to be okay with that. You will learn much, 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 much more about your relationship to the world around you, right? So don't be afraid of those emotions that may come up. That's part of our growth, right? So if we can allow those emotions to come up and really be able to acknowledge them, right? And say, yes, that upset me. Yes, that hurt me. Yes, that created pain. But what is the lesson from it, right? From this incident? How can I grow? How can I create change in my life, in myself, right? Because we know it is ourselves that we only really have control of. It's how we respond to things. And so when you allow yourself to move in a space where these refined impressions that you glean from your experiences after contemplating their significance can add new richness and texture to your life, right? So when you allow yourself to do that, that's what happens, right? Your life becomes a new richness. There's a new texture to it. You're able to say, you know what? This is not all. This is not all, right? Hello, Destiny. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. And my niece, Breezy. Thank you. So again, like we said in the beginning, looking at the idea that experiences with multiple meanings, right? And so what that will allow you to do is really stand in a space of continuous growth, learning, and leveling up to your higher self, right? And as we level up to our higher self, that higher self gets to another higher self. So it's ever expanding. It's never stopping, right? If that's a way to say it. So stand in the space and be okay with really stopping, contemplating, and looking at an event and an experience and say, what can I learn from this, right? And allow yourself the space for whatever comes up, right? So I thank you for spending this time with us. I thank you for adding richness and giving your time, right? And so if you have any questions or any topics that you would like for us to look at, please feel free to type them in. We would greatly appreciate it. Also would like to let you all know that June 2018, we're going to be having our I Am Enough healing retreat. So please go over to Dr. Camelia Straughn Rising Star page and get more information on the retreat, or you could direct message me. I would love to hear from you. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this time. And we hope that what we have shared is and will create love, newness, and peace and growth in your life. Appreciating you always. Namaste. Peace.